There is a thief in your life, and you welcome him through your door every single day. He doesn't break in through windows or force his way past locked doors. You invite him in willingly, often without even realizing what you're surrendering. This thief steals the most precious thing you will ever possess. The one resource you can never reclaim, never regenerate, never replace. He steals your time. And unlike money, which can be earned back, or health, which can sometimes be restored, time flows in only one direction. Slipping through your fingers like water, disappearing into an abyss you cannot see until it's too late. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher who lived 2,000 years ago, understood this brutal truth better than almost anyone in history. He watched as people around him squandered their days, trading their finite existence for trivial pleasures, petty concerns, and meaningless distractions. He saw emperors with all the power in the world waste their years on paranoia and excess. He witnessed common people sleepwalk through their lives, always believing they had more time than they actually possessed. And in his wisdom, in his piercing clarity about human nature, Seneca left us warnings that echo across the centuries, warnings that are perhaps even more urgent now than they were in ancient Rome. Because the distractions we face today would seem like sorcery to someone from his time, so sophisticated, so engineered, so perfectly designed to hijack our attention and drain our lives away, without us even noticing. We live in a world where a single hour can vanish into the void of scrolling, where days blur together in an endless stream of notifications, videos, posts, messages, updates, alerts, each one pulling at your consciousness, fragmenting your focus, destroying your ability to be present with your own thoughts, your own existence, your own limited time on this earth. Seneca wrote that we are not given a short life, but we make it short. And we are not ill-supplied with time, but we are wasteful of it. Think about those words for a moment. Truly consider their weight. You are not suffering from a lack of time. You are suffering from how carelessly you spend the time you have been given. Every morning you wake up with 24 hours ahead of you. The same amount given to every human being who has ever lived. The same hours that Marcus Aurelius used to rule an empire and practice philosophy. The same hours that Leonardo da Vinci used to create masterpieces and advance human knowledge. The same hours that your heroes used to become legendary. The difference is not in the amount of time, but in how that time is used, how it is protected, how it is invested, how it is treated with the sacred reverence it deserves. But most people treat their time as if it were infinite, as if death were a distant abstraction that happens to other people, as if they will always have tomorrow to begin the life they dream about. Seneca observed that people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to wasting time, they are most extravagant with the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. People will fight over a few dollars, they will guard their possessions jealously, they will lock their doors and protect their belongings, yet they allow anyone and anything to steal their time. They give it away freely to people who drain their energy. To activities that provide no growth, to entertainment that numbs rather than enriches, to worries about things they cannot control, to anger over slights that won't matter in a week, to scrolling through the carefully curated lives of strangers while their own authentic life remains unlived. This is the great tragedy of human existence. Not that life is short, but that we waste so much of it, that we reach the end and realize we never truly began, that we spend our days in the waiting room of life, always preparing to live, but never actually living, always planning to start, but never starting, always believing we had more time until suddenly we don't. The truth that Seneca forces us to confront is uncomfortable, almost unbearably so. You are going to die. Not someday in some vague, distant future, but relatively soon. In a time frame that would horrify you if you truly let yourself feel it. If you live to be 80 years old, you have roughly 4,000 weeks on this planet. 4,000 weeks to experience everything, to love, to create, to grow, to learn, to become who you are meant to be. And if you are 30 years old right now, you have already spent more than 1,500 of those weeks. They are gone forever, vanished into the past, and you can never reclaim them. The years you wasted in your 20s, the days you threw away on things that didn't matter. The hours you surrendered to numbness and distraction, they are gone, and no amount of regret can bring them back. This is not meant to depress you, though it might. It is meant to wake you up, to shock you out of the comfortable delusion that you have endless time to figure things out. Endless opportunities to become the person you want to be. Endless chances to do the things you dream about. You don't. Every day that passes is one you will never get back. And the number of days remaining is shrinking with ruthless efficiency. Whether you pay attention to it or not, Seneca tells us that life is divided into 3 periods: what has been, what is, and what will be. Of these, the present is short, the future is doubtful, and the past is certain. Yet we spend almost no time in the present moment, which is the only place where life actually happens, where experience actually occurs, where you actually exist. Instead, your mind is almost always somewhere else, replaying the past or rehearsing the future, dwelling on what happened yesterday or worrying about what might happen tomorrow. You eat a meal without tasting it because you're thinking about work. You have a conversation without truly listening because you're planning what you'll say next. You walk through a beautiful day without seeing it because you're lost in thoughts about problems that may never materialize. You are physically present but mentally absent, and in that absence, your life is slipping away. Moment by moment, breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat. The present moment is all you ever have. And yet it is the one thing you consistently ignore, the one place you refuse to be. Because being present requires you to feel, to be aware, to confront the reality of your existence rather than escaping into fantasy or memory or plans. Modern life is engineered distraction to a degree that would astound Seneca. In his time, the distractions were relatively simple: gossip, entertainment, social obligations, the demands of others, the pursuit of pleasure and status. These things pulled people away from themselves, from their purpose, from mindful living. But today, you carry in your pocket a device that gives you access to infinite distraction, infinite stimulation, infinite ways to avoid being alone with your thoughts. This device has been designed by some of the smartest people on Earth, using psychology and neuroscience, specifically to capture and hold your attention for as long as possible. The colors, the sounds, the endless scroll, the intermittent rewards, the sense of missing out. All of it is engineered to keep you engaged, to keep you coming back, to make you feel like you need to check just one more time. And it works spectacularly well. Studies show that the average person spends between 3 and 6 hours per day on their smartphone, often more. Let that sink in for a moment. If you spend 4 hours a day on your phone, that is 1/6 of your entire life. 1/6 of your precious, irreplaceable existence. Given away to a glowing screen, to other people's thoughts, to manufactured outrage, to shallow entertainment, to the illusion of connection, while genuine connection withers. But the phone is just the most obvious example. The distractions are everywhere, and they are relentless. Television that you watch not because you care about what's on, but because you need noise to fill the silence. News that you consume not because it improves your life, but because you feel obligated to stay informed about things you cannot change. Social media, where you compare your behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel, where you perform a version of yourself for an audience that isn't really paying attention, where you seek validation through likes and comments and shares, tiny hits of dopamine that leave you emptier than before. Video games that provide a sense of achievement without actual achievement, a feeling of progress in a virtual world while your real life stagnates. Streaming services with endless content, always one more episode, one more series, one more movie, and before you know it, you've spent an entire weekend watching other people's stories instead of living your own. Shopping that you do not out of need but out of boredom, trying to fill an emptiness inside with things that can never fill it. All of these are escapes, ways of avoiding the present moment, ways of numbing yourself to the discomfort of actually being alive, actually facing yourself, actually dealing with the question of what you're doing with your one precious life. Seneca warns us that we are not suddenly going to fall on death, but we are advancing towards it by slight degrees. We are dying every day, While you were reading these words, time passed that you will never get back. While you slept last night, hours vanished. While you scrolled mindlessly this morning, your life shortened. The tragedy is not that we die, but that we were never fully alive to begin with. Most people exist in a kind of twilight state. Not fully asleep, but not fully awake either. Going through the motions, following the script society handed them, doing what they're supposed to do, checking the boxes, climbing the ladder, never stopping to ask if the ladder is leaning against the right wall, never pausing to consider if this is actually the life they want to live, never giving themselves permission to step off the conveyor belt and design something different. They are alive in the biological sense, hearts beating, lungs breathing, but they are not truly living, not experiencing the full depth and richness and intensity that life offers when you are completely present, completely engaged, completely committed to making something meaningful out of the time you have been given. Procrastination is not just a bad habit. It is a kind of slow suicide, a way of killing yourself gradually by refusing to live. When you procrastinate, what you are really saying is that you will do it later, that future you will handle it, that you have time to waste. But you don't. And future you is just present you in a different moment, facing the same resistance, the same fear, the same tendency to delay. Seneca observed that everyone hurries their life on and suffers from a yearning for the future and a weariness of the present. We are always preparing to live, but never living. We tell ourselves that we will start the business after we save more money, that we will write the book after we have more time, that we will pursue our dreams after the kids are older, after we get the promotion, after we move to a new city, after conditions are perfect. But conditions are never perfect. There is no magical future moment when everything will align and life will become easy. The only moment you have is now, and if you cannot start now, you will not start then either. Because the obstacles you imagine in the future are just the present obstacles projected forward, given more power by your avoidance. Every time you choose distraction over action, every time you choose comfort over growth, every time you choose the easy path over the meaningful path, you are training yourself to be weak, to be passive, to be someone who watches life happen rather than someone who makes life happen. And these choices compound over time. One day of wasted time might not seem like much, but one day becomes a week becomes a month becomes a year, and before you know it, you have lived an entire decade without progress, without growth, without moving toward the things that actually matter to you. You look back and wonder where the time went, why you didn't do the things you said you would do, why your life looks nothing like the vision you had for it. The answer is simple and brutal. You chose distraction over discipline. You chose comfort over courage. You chose the easy escape over the hard work of becoming who you needed to become. And now you are living with the consequences of those choices, which is a life that feels empty, meaningless. Like you are going through the motions without any real purpose or direction. The Stoics understood that time is the only thing we truly own, and yet it is the thing we are most careless with. Seneca writes that we must make every moment count, that we must live as if each day might be our last. It's not out of fear, but out of appreciation for the gift of existence. When you truly internalize your mortality, when you feel it in your bones rather than just understanding it intellectually, everything changes. Suddenly, the trivial things that consumed your attention seem ridiculous. Suddenly, the drama and gossip and petty concerns that occupied your mind seem embarrassingly small. Suddenly, you realize that you have been spending your irreplaceable life on replaceable things, that you have been majoring in minor things while the major things go neglected. This realization is simultaneously devastating and liberating. Devastating because you see how much time you have wasted, how many years you have given away to things that don't matter. Liberating because you realize that you can change. That starting right now, in this very moment. You can decide to live differently, to protect your time fiercely, to say no to the things that drain you and yes to the things that matter. But knowing is not enough. Understanding these truths intellectually will not change your life. You must act. You must implement. You must build systems and structures that protect your time and attention from the constant assault of distraction. This begins with brutal honesty about where your time actually goes. Most people have no idea how they spend their time. They feel busy. They feel like they are working hard. But when you actually track their hours, you discover that huge chunks of their day disappear into a black hole of unproductive activity. Start by tracking your time for 1 week, every single hour, writing down exactly what you did. Be honest. Do not lie to yourself. If you've spent 2 hours scrolling social media, write it down. If you spent 3 hours watching television, write it down. If you spent 45 minutes in the shower because you were avoiding starting your work, write it down. At the end of the week, look at how you spent those 168 hours. And ask yourself if this is how someone who respects their life would spend their time. Ask yourself if your daily actions are aligned with your long-term values, with the person you claim you want to become, with the life you say you want to build. For most people, the answer is a hard no, and that recognition is the first step toward change. Once you see where your time is going, you must become ruthless about eliminating or reducing the activities that drain you without giving anything meaningful in return. This requires courage because it means going against the grain of modern culture, which tells you that you need to be available all the time, that you need to respond to every message immediately, that you need to keep up with everything happening in the world, that you need to be on every platform consuming every piece of content, staying informed about every trend. This is a lie designed to keep you distracted and disempowered. The truth is that you do not need any of these things. You do not need to know what is happening in the news every hour of every day. You do not need to respond to every email within 5 minutes. You do not need to maintain a presence on 5 different social media platforms. You do not need to watch every popular show or read every trending article or have an opinion on every controversy. What you need is time to think, time to work on things that matter to you, time to be present with the people you love, time to pursue your purpose, time to build something meaningful with your life. This means setting boundaries that will make some people uncomfortable. It means saying no far more often than you say yes. It means disappointing people who expect you to be always available. It's always accommodating, always willing to sacrifice your time for their needs. It means deleting apps from your phone that steal your attention. It means turning off notifications that interrupt your focus. It means scheduling specific times for checking email and messages rather than living in a constant state of reactivity. It means creating sacred blocks of time where you are unavailable, where you are working on your priorities, where you are doing deep work that requires sustained focus and cannot be done in scattered 15-minute chunks between distractions. It means designing your environment to support focus rather than fragmented, removing temptations, making distractions harder to access, making productive activities easier to start. These might seem like small things, but they are not small. They are the building blocks of a life well lived, a foundation upon which you construct something meaningful out of the raw material of time. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is love. When you discipline yourself to use your time well, what you are really doing is loving yourself enough to insist that your life means something, so that your days add up to something beyond mere existence. The word discipline comes from the same root as disciple, one who follows a teaching, one who submits to a higher wisdom. When you practice discipline with your time, you are following the wisdom that your life is finite and precious, that every hour matters, that you are not guaranteed tomorrow, so you must make the most of today. This is not about perfection, about never wasting a single minute, about optimizing every second of every day. That would be its own form of madness, an attempt to turn yourself into a machine rather than honoring your humanity. There is a place for rest, for play, for seemingly unproductive activities that feed your soul. The key is intention. There is a massive difference between deliberately choosing to spend an evening reading fiction because you love stories and mindlessly scrolling through your phone for 3 hours because you are avoiding discomfort. One is a choice, a conscious decision about how to spend your time. The other is an escape, a surrender of agency, a passive consumption that leaves you emptier than before. Seneca reminds us that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested. But when it is wasted in heedless luxury and spent on no good activity, we are forced at last by death's final constraint to realize that it has passed away before we knew it was passing. So it is. We are not given a short life, but we make it short, and we are not ill-supplied but wasteful of it. Think about the implications of this. If you took all the time you have wasted in your life, all the hours spent on meaningless activities, all the days lost to procrastination and distraction, and you compressed them together, you would have years. Perhaps decades of additional life, enough time to become fluent in multiple languages, to master several skills, to build a business, to write several books, to travel the world, to cultivate deep relationships, to become a completely different person. But that time is gone now, spent on things you cannot even remember, on activities that left no lasting impact, on moments that disappeared without a trace. This should fill you with urgency, not despair. The time you have lost is gone, but you still have time remaining. And what you do with that time is entirely up to you. The enemy of a well-spent life is not laziness, though laziness is part of it. The deeper enemy is a lack of clarity about what matters. Most people waste their time because they have never taken the time to figure out what they actually value. It's what they actually want. What would make their life feel meaningful and worthwhile. They are living according to someone else's script, pursuing goals that society told them to pursue, trying to impress people they don't even like, climbing a ladder that leads to a destination they never chose. And so their time feels wasted even when they are busy, even when they are productive. Because the productivity is in service of something that doesn't align with who they really are. Seneca emphasizes that you must know what port you are sailing toward, because no wind is favorable if you do not know your destination. If you do not have clarity about what you are trying to build with your life, about what success means to you, about what you want to be remembered for, then no amount of time management or productivity hacks will help you. You will simply become very efficient at doing things that don't matter. Very good at reaching goals that leave you feeling empty once you achieve them. So before you can truly stop wasting time, you must first answer the fundamental question. What is worth doing with the time you have left? What matters enough that you would willingly trade hours of your life for it? What would you regret not doing if you found out you only had a year to live? These questions might seem dramatic, but they are essential, because they cut through all the noise and distraction and social conditioning to reveal what you actually care about, what actually matters to you at the deepest level. For some people, the answer involves creating something, building a business, writing, making art, contributing to human knowledge or culture. For others, it involves relationships, being present with family, raising children with intention, cultivating deep friendships that last a lifetime. For others still, it involves personal growth, becoming wise, developing character, mastering yourself, living according to principles that you can be proud of. There is no single right answer, no universal blueprint for a meaningful life. But there is your answer, the one that resonates in your chest when you think about it. The one that makes you feel alive rather than numb. The one that you would defend and fight for if someone tried to take it away from you. Once you have that clarity, once you know what you are aiming toward, then the question of how to spend your time becomes much simpler. Does this activity move me toward what matters, or does it move me away from it? Does this use of my time align with my values, or does it contradict them? Am I investing my hours in something that will compound over time, or am I spending them on something that will evaporate and leave nothing behind? These questions act as a filter, a way of evaluating every choice you make about how to spend your limited time. And when you consistently choose the things that align with what matters, when you protect your time from the constant encroachment of the trivial and the meaningless, something remarkable happens. Your life begins to feel different. You experience a sense of purpose, of direction, of being on a path rather than wandering in circles. You start to see progress. Small at first, but then accelerating, compounding, building momentum. You become someone who does things rather than someone who talks about doing things. Someone who makes things happen rather than someone who waits for things to happen to them. But this transformation is not easy, and it is not comfortable. It requires you to confront yourself, to look honestly at how you have been living, to acknowledge the gap between who you are and who you could be. It requires you to give up the comfortable numbness of distraction, to sit with discomfort instead of running from it, to do hard things when every fiber of your being wants to choose the easy path. It requires you to disappoint people, to set boundaries, to say no to opportunities that look good on paper but would pull you away from what truly matters. It requires you to be different from the people around you, to opt out of the default path, to live intentionally in a world that runs on autopilot. This is why most people never do it. It is easier to keep scrolling, keep binging, keep procrastinating. Keep telling yourself that you will start tomorrow, that you have plenty of time, that things will somehow work out without you having to change anything fundamental about how you live. But Seneca's voice echoes across the centuries with a warning: you do not have plenty of time. Things will not work out if you keep doing what you have been doing. And tomorrow is not guaranteed. Death is not something that happens at the end of a long life. Death is happening right now, moment by moment, as your life drains away. The years you have already lived are gone, dead, finished. The future is uncertain, a possibility that may never arrive. The only life you have is happening right now. In this present moment, and if you are not here for it, if you are lost in thoughts about the past or plans for the future, if you are distracted by your phone or numbed by entertainment, then you are missing it. You are letting it slip through your fingers. You are wasting the one thing you can never get more of. This is the ultimate tragedy. Not that life is short, but that we are not present for the life we have. That we spend our days anywhere but here. Anytime but now, being anyone but who we actually are. Seneca tells us that the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which depends upon tomorrow and wastes today. You are arranging what is in fortune's control and abandoning what is in yours. What are you looking at? To what goal are you straining? The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Live immediately. Not when conditions are perfect. Not when you feel ready. Not when you have more money, more time, more confidence, more support. Now. Right now. This moment, this breath, this heartbeats. This is your life, and it is happening whether you are paying attention or not. Whether you are using it well or wasting it. Whether you are present or absent. The transformation that occurs when you truly internalize this, when you feel it in your body rather than just understanding it in your mind, is profound. You stop postponing. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for permission or the perfect moment or someone else to tell you that it is okay to start living the life you want to live. You realize that if you are going to do something meaningful with your time, you must begin now, because now is all you have. Now is all you ever have, and the now that you are in right now will be gone in 60 seconds. Replaced by a new now that will also be gone before you know it. When you stop wasting time, when you protect your attention and invest your hours in what actually matters, you begin to experience life at a different level of intensity. Colors seem brighter. Experiences feel richer. Relationships deepen. Work becomes engaging rather than draining. You stop feeling like you are sleepwalking through your days and start feeling genuinely alive, genuinely present, genuinely connected to your own existence. This is not because anything external has changed, but because you have changed, because you have decided to be here to show up fully, to stop running from yourself and your life. The hours you once spent in distraction are now spent in creation. In growth, in connection, in activities that leave you feeling fulfilled rather than empty. And this creates a positive feedback loop, because the more fulfilled you feel, the less you need to escape into distraction, and the less you escape, the more you can engage with what matters. And the more you engage, the more meaningful your life becomes. Seneca lived through tumultuous times, serving under emperors, navigating political intrigue, eventually facing death by forced suicide under Nero's orders. He knew that life was uncertain, that circumstances could change in an instant, that the only thing you truly control is how you respond to what happens, how you use the time you have been given. In his final moments, He faced death with the same philosophical clarity he had practiced throughout his life, seeing it not as a tragedy, but as a natural conclusion, the final punctuation mark on a life lived with intention. He did not rage against the dying of the light because he had used his light well. He had burned brightly. He had not wasted his days on trivial pursuits, but had engaged deeply with philosophy, with writing, with attempting to live according to his principles. His legacy endures 2,000 years later, not because he was perfect, but because he was intentional, because he took seriously the question of how to live, because he refused to sleepwalk through his existence. You have that same choice. Every single day, you wake up and choose how to spend the hours ahead of you. You can choose distraction, or you can choose focus. You can choose the easy path of least resistance, or you can choose the harder path that leads somewhere meaningful. You can choose to live according to someone else's script, or you can choose to write your own. You can choose to waste your time, or you can choose to invest it. These choices might seem small in the moment, insignificant, like it doesn't really matter if you spend an hour scrolling tonight or if you watch one more episode, but it does matter because that hour is part of your life, a piece of the finite time you have been given. And once it is gone, you will never get it back. The question is not whether you will spend that hour. You will. The hour will pass whether you use it well or waste it. The question is what you will have to show for it, what you will have built with it, who you will have become through the accumulation of all those individual choices about how to spend your time. The great irony is that the people who are most careful with their time, who are most intentional about how they spend it, who say no to distractions and protect their focus, these people actually enjoy their lives more, not less. They are not grinding themselves down in joyless productivity. They are experiencing the deep satisfaction that comes from building something meaningful, from making progress on what matters, from being fully present in their own lives. They have time for relationships because they have eliminated the time wasters that prevent most people from connecting deeply. They have time for rest because they work with focus and intensity rather than spreading their attention thin across a dozen half-done tasks. They have time for joy because they are not carrying the constant background anxiety of knowing they are wasting their life, knowing they are not living up to their potential, knowing they are letting their dreams die through inaction. This is what Seneca offers us across the gulf of 2,000 years, not a guilt trip about how we are wasting our time, but an invitation to wake up, to live, to treat our days as the precious gift they are. He is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to be present. He is not demanding that you optimize every second. He is suggesting that you make your time count, that you use your life to do something that matters to you, that you stop postponing and start living. The wisdom of the Stoics is not about suppressing emotion or becoming some kind of unfeeling robot. It is about recognizing what you can control and what you cannot, accepting what you cannot change, and taking radical responsibility for what you can. You cannot control how much time you have left. You cannot control the circumstances you were born into. You cannot control what other people do or think or say. But you can control how you spend your time, how you respond to what happens. What do you pay attention to? What do you invest your energy in? What kind of person you choose to become right now? In this very moment, you are at a crossroads. You can close this, go back to scrolling, go back to distraction, go back to the comfortable numbness of a life half-lived. Or you can decide that enough is enough, that you have wasted enough time, that starting right now, you're going to treat your life with the respect it deserves. You can look at your calendar and your to-do list, and your habits and your relationships and ask yourself whether these things reflect what you actually value, whether they are moving you toward the life you want to build, whether you would be proud of them if you found out you only had a year left to live. You can delete the apps that steal your attention. You can turn off the notifications that fragment your focus. You can say no to the obligations that drain your energy without giving anything meaningful in return. You can carve out time for the work that matters, for the projects that excite you, the relationships that nourish you, for the personal growth that transforms you. You can stop waiting for permission and start living with intention. The transformation does not happen overnight. You will not wake up tomorrow as a completely different person, suddenly immune to distraction, suddenly perfectly disciplined. You will still feel the pull of old habits. You will still be tempted to escape into entertainment when things get difficult. You will still waste time, still procrastinate, still fall short of your ideals. But if you keep choosing the harder path, if you keep protecting your time, if you keep showing up even when you don't feel like it, something shifts. The choices that felt impossibly difficult at first become easier. The focus that seemed unreachable becomes your natural state. The life that seemed like a distant dream starts to become your reality. Not because you became a different person, but because you started being yourself, the real you who knows what matters, who wants to build something meaningful, who refuses to let your one precious life be stolen by 1,000 small distractions. Seneca's message is both warning and invitation. Both a mirror showing us how we have been living and a map pointing toward how we could live instead. The warning is stark. You are dying. Your time is running out. You have wasted more of your life than you want to admit. And if you keep going the way you have been going, you will reach the end with nothing but regret, wishing you had done things differently. Wishing you had started sooner, wishing you had been braver, more intentional, more present. The invitation is equally powerful. You can change. You can start now. You can reclaim your time and your attention and your life. You can build something meaningful with the hours you have left. You can become someone who lives with purpose rather than drifting along with the current. You can look back on your days with satisfaction rather than regret, knowing that you made them count, that you showed up, that you didn't waste the gift you were given. The choice, as always, is yours. But make no mistake, not choosing is also a choice to keep wasting time, to keep letting your life slip away, to keep postponing the moment when you finally start living. And that choice has consequences. Not dramatic consequences that hit you all at once, but slow, grinding consequences that accumulate over years until you wake up one day and realize that you are old, that your chances are gone, that the life you dreamed about living remained a dream while you were busy being distracted. Seneca watched people make this mistake over and over again in ancient Rome, and we make it over and over again today, thinking we are different, thinking we have more time, thinking it won't happen to us. But time is ruthlessly egalitarian, treating emperors and peasants exactly the same, giving everyone the same 24 hours, the same finite existence, the same eventual death. The only difference is in how those hours are used, how that existence is lived, whether that death is faced with peace or with panic, with satisfaction or with despair. Your time is running out, not in some abstract philosophical sense, but right now, literally, as you read these words. Every second that passes is gone forever. Every minute that goes by is one you will never experience again. Every hour that slips through your fingers is an hour subtracted from the total sum of your life. This is not meant to create anxiety, though it might. It is meant to create urgency, to shake you out of complacency, to make you feel the weight of your mortality so deeply that you cannot ignore it, cannot postpone dealing with it, cannot keep pretending that you have endless time to figure things out. You don't have endless time. You have exactly as much time as you have, which is unknowable, but certainly finite, which is slipping away whether you acknowledge it or not, which demands that you take it seriously, that you stop wasting it, that you start using it in ways that will make you proud when you look back, ways that will leave something behind when you are gone, ways that will mean your existence mattered, that you were here, that you lived. Stop wasting time. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not after you finish this one last thing. Now. Right now. This moment. Stop scrolling and start creating. Stop consuming and start contributing. Stop planning and start doing. Stop waiting for perfect conditions and start working with what you have. Stop making excuses and start making progress. Stop being a passive observer of other people's